So this is my hewing hatchet. I don't know why I keep calling it a hewing hatchet. I think it may have been a hewing hatchet at one time. When I bought it, there was another one that looked very similar to this, but it was only beveled on one side, and this one has a bevel on both sides. And the bevel goes all the way back on this side, on both sides. So it was probably beveled, or has been beveled for a long time. So when I bought it, the guy that I bought it from, he had taken a grinder to the edge of the axe here, and you could tell that it had been on a grinding wheel. You can still see that a little bit there, and but all in all, it was in pretty good shape. He lacquered the head of it, and but it had an old handle on it, and it had about 10 or 15 nails right down in the head of the handle. So it was a little loose. I knew that wasn't gonna last forever. So I set out to go ahead and make my first handle for an axe. And you can see it there. I wedged it in with a wooden wedge. I carved the wooden wedge as well, and I haven't used any metal wedges at all. And it has stayed tight so far, and I think it'll stay tight without any question. I haven't even used any glue in there either, so we'll see how long that lasts. But what I did was I made it from a rough cut 2x4, similar to this one here, and it was one about this length, and I cut it down for the handle. And I got these for free. They came out of an old out of a pallet that I picked up. So I took that and I started off and I traced out the old handle that was on it, and I started working away at it, cutting away at it, and carving it down to what you see here now. And you can see both sides. The old one had a little bit of a curve to it as well, and so that's my first attempt at it. It's very functional. It fits my hand quite well, and you can see the nail hole in there from where it was used to be a pallet. I avoided the other nail holes in there, so we'll see how that handles out, if that ends up splitting out or if it lasts forever. So it's a really stout handle, really stout and sturdy handle. And then I finished it off with the boiled linseed oil and so forth. So at the end of this, a little bit here, I'll show you how I work out the edges just to maintain the edge and so forth along here. So this head here of the hatchet here is it's an interesting pattern. It's got a nice, you can tell, it doesn't look like modern axes for sure. I think it was a telephone pole hatchet. That's the best information I've been able to find on it. There's no markings on it. There's no names on it at all. All I know is it's old and it's still functional, and it's definitely the best axe that I own. So how I start, once it's clapped down, I just take a file, a mill file, and this is the easiest way that I have found that you can get an edge on it without being in some awkward position. You can clamp it in whatever way that you feel most comfortable with, but I just come along here and I find that the angle that I want to be at, and I just start taking off material evenly on both sides until I get it down, take out all the nicks that I want to take out. Sometimes a blade is nicked badly enough that you're not going to take out that a particular nick without taking off tons and tons and tons of material, and it may not be worth it considering the life of the axe and so forth. So you just got to have a little bit of a discernment there on what you want to do with it. One nick in a blade is not going to make that big of a difference. Once I'm done with the file, I just take this stone. This stone has 2 grits on it, and as you can see, I dropped it and broke it. So I use this one in hand for my axes now. And so the 2 grits are coarse and fine. Not sure what exactly the grit levels are, but they seem to be sufficient for what I want to do on an axe. And so I just use this in a circular motion, coarse side, and then I go to the fine side. I use the coarse side, and then I go to the fine side, and I work it until it's polished up the way I want it. And from there, You can use a leather strap on it if you like. It's not really necessary on an axe because as soon as you put it into the first piece of wood, that the burr on it's going to be gone, and you won't have to worry about it. So, axes aren't really designed to cut paper, and so that's not really the purpose behind sharpening an axe. So guys, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed that, and let me know what you think in the comments below.